Welcome, my friend, to Super English Talks, where we practice simple, friendly English through stories that feel real, warm, and full of life. Today, I want to take you on a slow, peaceful morning journey. This is listening practice, yes, but more than that, it is a small story about motivation, about quiet thoughts, and about how we start our day with kindness and strength. So sit back or sit up or walk gently as you listen, whatever feels right for you, because this moment is just for you. Let me take you now to a small apartment, early in the morning, when the light is soft and the air feels cool. In this apartment lives a person named Daniel. Not a superhero, not someone famous, not someone with a perfect life. Just a simple person like me, like you, trying to find energy in the morning. Trying to find motivation. Trying to begin a new day with a good feeling. It is 6:15 in the morning. And Daniel's alarm rings with that soft digital sound, beep, 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 the kind of sound that is not loud, but still feels like a tiny hammer hitting your brain. He opens one eye. Just one. The room is still dark. The air feels cold. And he feels that familiar morning thought, do I really have to get up? He pulls the blanket up to his face. He closes his eyes again. He tries to feel comfortable. And he whispers to himself, maybe I can sleep a little more. But something inside him knows that if he sleeps more, he will feel even more tired. You know that feeling, right? When sleeping more does not help. When your body wants rest, but your day needs you. When your mind wants silence, but the world wants movement. Daniel slowly sits up. His hair is messy. His face feels heavy. But he looks at the window. A little light is starting to appear, soft and yellow, like the morning saying, hello. I'm here. Come join me. And in this very small moment, Daniel remembers something his friend told him recently. Your morning decides your day. If you win your morning, you win your day. But how do you win a morning when you're still half asleep? When your brain feels slow? When your body feels like a stone? Well, today, Daniel wants to try. He wants to make this morning different. He wants to find motivation, not from pressure, not from stress, but from something small, something soft, something simple. He stands up, slowly, quietly, like someone trying not to wake up the floor. He stretches his arms one, then the other. His back makes a soft crack sound. He yawns. And then he smiles a little, because even though he is still tired, he feels something new, a tiny spark. A beginning. He walks to the kitchen. The floor feels cold. The kitchen is dark. But he switches on a small yellow light. The light makes the room feel warm, almost like the sun is hiding inside the lamp. He takes a deep breath. He smells the quiet morning air. He puts water in a kettle. He presses the button. Click. The water begins to heat, slowly, silently at first. Then with a soft sound, shhhh, the steam begins to rise. And while the water heats, Daniel does something very simple. He puts his hands around a warm ceramic mug. It is empty right now, but the warmth of the kettle is enough to make the mug feel alive. And he just stands there, touching the mug, breathing slowly, feeling this small calm moment. He whispers to himself, okay, one good breath, one good start. And this, my friend, this tiny moment, this is where morning motivation begins. Not with big goals, not with pressure, not with stress. But with a soft, calm moment, a peaceful breath, a small promise to yourself, I can begin. Now the kettle finishes with a little click. Daniel makes tea, not strong tea, not fancy tea, just simple warm tea with a soft smell of lemon. He holds the cup with both hands and closes his eyes for a moment. The tea warms his fingers. The steam touches his face gently. And he takes one slow sip. And something happens. Something small, but real. His mind wakes up a little. His body feels a little stronger. His motivation begins to grow, like a small light turning brighter. He looks at a small sticky note on his fridge. A blue one. And written on it in messy handwriting are these words: start small. Start kind. Start now. His friend gave him that note months ago. But today, for the first time, the words feel clear. He sits at his small kitchen table and drinks his tea slowly. And he thinks about something he's been struggling with recently, waking up with a good feeling. He always wakes up stressed. Always in a hurry. Always thinking, I don't have enough time. But today is different. Today, he wants to try a new kind of morning. A morning that feels gentle. A morning that feels possible. A morning that begins with motivation, not fear. And as he takes another sip of tea, Daniel has a small conversation with himself, a conversation many of us have had. He asks quietly, why is it so hard to feel motivated in the morning? And then he answers to himself, maybe because I'm always rushing. Maybe because I never give myself a peaceful beginning. He smiles a little. He breathes slowly. And in that moment, he decides something. Today, he will change his morning. Not by doing something big. Not by doing something perfect. But by doing something small and kind. He will talk to himself like a friend. He will move his body gently. He will think about one good thing he wants today. He will not run. He will not rush. He will simply begin. And that, my friend, is where our story truly starts. Because this is a story about a simple morning, but also about the deeper question: how do we begin our day with hope? How do we find motivation when we feel tired? How do we speak to ourselves in the morning so our day becomes lighter? I want you to walk with me, and with Daniel, through this morning journey. We will explore the quiet thoughts, the warm moments, the gentle steps, and the positive conversations that help us build strong motivation every day. So take a breath, relax your shoulders, and get ready to enter a morning that feels slow, soft, and full of possibility. This is Super English Talks. This is your English listening practice. And this is your story for today. The steam from Daniel's tea rises slowly, like soft white clouds dancing above the cup. He watches the steam move. It feels calm. It feels peaceful. And for the first time in a long time, he is not rushing. He is not checking his phone. He is not thinking about emails or work or problems. He is simply breathing. He sits quietly and lets his mind wake up slowly. And then, as the room grows brighter, something interesting happens. He begins to talk to himself. Not out loud, but in his thoughts. A gentle conversation. A simple conversation. A kind one. He asks himself, what do I want from this morning? And a quiet answer comes back, I want to feel alive. He asks again, what do I need today? And something inside whispers, I need a peaceful start. It is strange how sometimes the answers are already inside us. We just never stop long enough to hear them. The soft morning light begins to enter through the window. It lands on the kitchen table. It lands on his tea. And it lands on his face, warming him slowly. He takes a deep breath. And he feels something he almost forgot: possibility. A morning can feel heavy. A morning can feel lonely. A morning can feel like work. But a morning can also feel like a chance, a fresh chance, to begin again. Daniel looks around his small kitchen. The fridge hums softly. The floor is clean because he cleaned it last night. His small plant near the window seems to stretch toward the light, like it is waking up too. And, suddenly, Daniel thinks about something deeper. Maybe morning motivation is not about big energy. Maybe it is about small steps. Steps that are easy. Steps that feel natural. Steps that bring you forward gently. He remembers something he heard in a podcast long ago. Motivation grows when you move, even a little. So Daniel says to himself quietly, all right, then let's move. He stands up. Slowly. Calmly. He stretches his arms again. He rolls his shoulders. He moves his neck gently from side to side. This is not exercise. This is not a workout. This is simply waking up the body with kindness. And as he moves, something beautiful happens. His body feels lighter. The morning feels brighter. The motivation becomes a little stronger, like a flame growing softly inside him. He walks to the window and opens it. Cool, fresh air enters the room. Birds somewhere far away make soft morning sounds. A car engine hums in the distance. The world is waking up. He closes his eyes and lets the air touch his face. It feels clean. It feels alive. It feels like the morning saying, "Welcome. You're here." He whispers to himself again, "Okay. This is good. This is a start." And as he stands there, something surprising comes into his mind, a memory. A memory from school. A moment when he was maybe 12 or 13. He remembers waking up early to study for an exam he was scared of. He remembers sitting at his small wooden desk, feeling nervous. And he remembers his mother placing a warm cup of tea in front of him. She didn't say much. She just smiled and said, "Start small. Just begin." He had forgotten that moment for years. But now, in this quiet morning, the memory returns. And it feels like a message from the past, whispering the same words again. Start small. Just begin. He opens his eyes slowly. And this time, he smiles a real smile, soft and warm. He returns to the kitchen table and sits down again with his tea. The tea is still warm. The light is brighter now. And Daniel begins to think again, but this time, not about problems, not about fears, but about morning motivation. He asks himself, why do mornings feel so hard sometimes? The answer comes in pieces. Mornings feel hard because I try to do too much. Mornings feel hard because I want to be perfect. Mornings feel hard because I always think about the whole day at once. And then he realizes something important. Maybe the morning is not for solving the whole day. Maybe the morning is only for starting. Just starting. Just one small step. He takes a sip of his tea again and lets this idea sink into his mind. He says quietly to himself, maybe that is all I need, one small, gentle step. And something inside him relaxes. The pressure becomes lighter. The morning becomes easier. But then another problem appears in his mind, a problem that many of us know very well. The problem of negative morning thoughts. Because even on a good morning, the mind can whisper things like, "You're too tired. You're not ready. You're behind. You won't do enough today. Why try?" These thoughts come like shadows. Soft but heavy. Quiet but strong. Daniel feels one of those shadows now. A small voice says, "What if today is difficult?" And for a moment, he feels that old pressure. That old fear. That old morning worry. But he breathes in and breathes out slowly. Then he talks back to the thought gently, kindly. He says, "Maybe today will be difficult. But I can still begin." The negative thought becomes weaker. The pressure becomes softer. The morning becomes clearer. This is something powerful, the idea that you can talk to yourself like a friend. You can answer your own fears with kindness. You can guide your own thoughts slowly back into the light. Daniel stands up again and walks to the living room. The sun is stronger now. The light touches the walls, the sofa, the carpet. Everything looks calm. He sits on the sofa and rests his tea on the small table next to him. He decides to try something new, something he heard about but never really tried, a gentle morning affirmation. Not loud, not dramatic. Just a quiet sentence he says to himself. He whispers softly, "I can begin my day with peace." He says it again. "I can begin my day with peace." Not perfect, not strong, not brave, just peaceful. And as he says the words, he feels something warm inside, a soft confidence, a calm strength. A gentle motivation that does not push him but invites him. He repeats another one. I will take my day step by step. And another. I will be kind to myself today. When he finishes, he feels a small shift. Like something heavy dropped off his shoulders. Like the morning opened a little more. He stands again and stretches once more. His body feels awake now. His mind feels clear. And he feels ready to do something he has not done in months. He decides to write down one small goal for today. Not a big goal. Not a complicated one. Just one. He goes to his desk and takes a small notebook. It is old and the cover is scratched, but he smiles because he remembers buying this notebook years ago for big dreams. And today, he will use it for a small dream, a simple morning motivation. He writes slowly, Today, I want to feel proud of one small thing. He looks at the sentence. He feels it. It feels right. It feels honest. It feels possible. He closes the notebook gently. He places it on the table. He breathes out slowly, letting the morning settle around him like a soft blanket. And then a small thought comes to him, a thought that makes everything lighter. Motivation is not about feeling strong. It is about choosing a small step and taking it with kindness. This thought changes everything. Because suddenly, Daniel realizes something important. The hardest part of the morning is not the work. It is the beginning. The moment you open your eyes. The moment you stand up. The moment you take your first breath of the day. But once you begin, truly begin, the rest becomes easier. He stands up again, this time with more confidence. He looks out the window at the brightening sky. He feels the morning air. He feels the calm strength inside him. And he says softly, Okay, I'm ready. Let's begin today. And, just like that, the morning transforms. Not because something big happened. Not because someone pushed him. But because he made one small, gentle decision to begin with peace. To begin with kindness. To begin slowly. Daniel walks back to the kitchen to refill his tea. And this time, when the warm tea touches his hands, he feels something new, a quiet pride. A soft motivation. A feeling that today can be good, even if he starts small. This is the start of a new kind of morning. A morning filled with gentle movement. A morning filled with soft thoughts. A morning filled with a warm conversation with himself. The morning light slowly fills Daniel's living room, soft and gentle, like a quiet friend entering the house without making a sound. It spreads across the floor, climbs up the walls, and touches the shelves where small objects rest, an old photo frame, a tiny plant, a simple lamp, a book he has not finished reading. Everything looks peaceful. Everything looks clean. And for the first time in many mornings, Daniel feels ready to step into this quiet light. He walks slowly across the room and stops near the window. The world outside is awake now. He can see people walking on the street, someone jogging, someone carrying a backpack, a couple holding hands while talking softly. A car passes by. A cyclist rings a small bell as they ride past someone walking their dog. Daniel watches all this and feels something warm inside. Because suddenly he realizes, every person he sees is also beginning their day. Every person carries their own hopes, their own worries, their own small morning thoughts. Every person is trying. Every person is starting. And this makes him feel less alone. He rests his hands on the windowsill. The wood is a little cold, but it feels real, grounding. The air coming from the open window feels fresh and new. And his chest rises and falls with slow, calm breaths. He whispers to himself, This morning is for me. Not for stress. Not for pressure. Not for problems. For him. For his growth. For his peace. For his simple, gentle motivation. He closes the window slowly and walks back toward the middle of the room. This time, he stands straight. His shoulders are relaxed. His breath is deep. His thoughts are steady. And he decides to try something else, something simple but powerful. He decides to create a morning intention. Not a plan, not a schedule, not a to-do list full of tasks. Just an intention, a purpose, a feeling that will guide his day. He stands there quietly. He places his hand on his chest, not because of emotion, but because he wants to feel his breath. He breathes in slowly. He breathes out gently. And he asks himself one question: what kind of person do I want to be today? He waits. He listens. And slowly, a soft answer rises inside him. I want to be a calm person today. He likes that. He says it again in his mind. I want to be a calm person today. He lets the words sit inside him like warm tea. They feel peaceful. They feel natural. They feel true. And then another thought comes naturally. If I want to be calm, I must move calmly. So he begins to walk slowly, gently, around the living room. Just walking. Just breathing. Just moving with intention. Each step is soft. Each step is light. Each step feels like quiet power. And as he walks, he thinks about something deeper, something he rarely thinks about. How do I talk to myself in the morning? Because the way we speak to ourselves shapes the way we feel. And the way we feel shapes the way we act. And the way we act shapes the kind of day we create. He remembers mornings when he used to wake up and think, I'm late. I'm behind. I'm not good enough. I won't finish everything today. Those thoughts were like heavy bags he carried on his back before the day even started. But today, everything is different. Today, the thoughts inside him are gentle. Begin slowly. You are allowed to take your time. You can make this morning peaceful. You can build your day step by step. And, suddenly, Daniel realizes something important, something that makes him stop walking for a moment. The voice in your mind can be your greatest weight, or your greatest support. He stands still, breathing, thinking. And then he smiles softly, because he knows which voice he wants to listen to today. He continues walking, but now his steps feel lighter. His body feels more awake. His mind feels more open. He feels like the morning is guiding him gently into a new feeling, a calm motivation. He walks to the kitchen again and fills his teacup one last time. The warm steam rises, and he breathes it in deeply. It feels like comfort. It feels like safety. It feels like a small morning gift. He sits down at the kitchen table again and looks outside at the bright sky. The clouds are high and light, like they are also beginning their day. And now, something inside him grows, a new thought, soft but bright. Every morning has a feeling. And today the feeling is hope. He sips his tea slowly. His eyes soften. His heart relaxes. And he begins to talk to himself again, the gentle, positive conversation that helps him feel strong. He says, I am learning to be kind to myself. He says, I can start with small steps and still move forward. He says, today, I will do one good thing, and that will be enough. These sentences feel like small lights inside him. Lights that warm his thoughts. Lights that guide his morning. Lights that help him grow. He finishes his tea and rests the cup on the table. His fingers feel warm. His breath feels slow. And his mind feels prepared, not fully, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to begin. Enough to continue. Enough to try. He stands up again and walks to the mirror in the hallway. He takes a moment to look at himself. Just look, not judge. His hair is still messy. His face looks sleepy, but his eyes look calmer, softer, brighter. He lifts his chin a little and whispers, You're doing okay. It feels strange at first, but then it feels good. Really good. Because maybe we don't tell ourselves this enough. Maybe we forget. Maybe we think we need to be perfect before we deserve kindness. But Daniel now understands something important. You do not need to be perfect to be kind to yourself. You just need to be honest. and gentle and human. He moves away from the mirror with a small smile. And now he feels the first true spark of morning motivation, not loud motivation, not dramatic motivation, but the soft kind, the natural kind, the kind that makes your heart feel warm and your steps feel clear. He walks around the house again, this time with a new energy. He opens the curtains wider. The room floods with light. The air feels awake. The space feels alive. And then Daniel does something symbolic, something small but meaningful. He makes his bed. He pulls the blanket straight. He smooths the pillows. He fixes the corners. He steps back and looks at it. It looks neat. It looks clean. It looks ready. And suddenly, he feels ready. Because making the bed is not just cleaning. It is a statement. A sign. A quiet, simple message to yourself. I am starting my day with order. With care. With intention. And that has power. Real power. Gentle power. Daniel feels a sense of pride now, a small one, but a real one. The kind of pride that whispers, you are moving. You are trying. You are beginning. He walks back to his living room and sits on the sofa again. He places his hands on his knees. His breathing is slow and deep. His mind is clear. And he takes one moment to think about the day ahead. He does not think about all the problems. He does not think about all the tasks. He does not think about everything he must finish. He thinks only about one thing. How can I carry this calm feeling with me? Because the true challenge of morning motivation is not just creating it, it is keeping it. Holding it gently in your hands as the day tries to take it away. Protecting it. Carrying it. So Daniel decides to choose one word for his day, a word that will stay with him, guide him, support him. He closes his eyes and lets the word appear slowly, naturally. And the word is steady. Not fast. Not strong. Not perfect. Just steady. Steady means moving. Steady means continuing. Steady means being gentle but consistent. He opens his eyes and smiles. He whispers, yes. Today, I will be steady. And with that one small word, his morning motivation becomes solid, soft, calm, but solid. Because now he knows his direction. He knows his intention. He knows his feeling. He knows his morning. The morning light in Daniel's apartment is no longer soft and shy. Now it shines confidently through the windows, touching the floor, the table, the walls, and Daniel himself. It fills the room with a gentle glow, like warm hands resting on everything. And as the light becomes stronger, Daniel feels something else becomes stronger too, his sense of direction. He stands in the center of his living room, taking slow breaths. In and out. In and out. His body feels awake. His mind feels open. His thoughts feel clear. But even with this calm feeling, Daniel knows something important. Every morning, at some point, the day begins to talk back. The world begins to whisper. You have work waiting. You have problems to solve. You have responsibilities. And sometimes, those whispers grow loud. Loud enough to shake the peace you built. Loud enough to make your morning motivation disappear like mist. Daniel knows this feeling well. You probably know it too. That moment when the day suddenly says, hey, remember everything you need to do? And because he knows this moment will come, he decides to meet it with strength, a soft strength, a gentle strength, but real strength. So he sits back down on the sofa and closes his eyes again. Not to sleep, but to listen. He listens to the quiet sounds in his home. The hum of the refrigerator. The quiet tick of the small clock on the wall. The faint sound of people walking outside. And then, he listens to himself. Inside. Deeply. Calmly. Because inside every morning, there is a conversation waiting. A conversation with yourself. A conversation that can decide your day. This is the moment most people run from. But Daniel does not run today. Today, he faces it. His eyes remain closed. His hands rest gently on his legs. His breath is steady. And then the first voice appears, the familiar one, the tired one, the worried one. The voice he often hears early in the morning. It says, "There is so much to do today." This time, Daniel doesn't panic. He doesn't freeze. He doesn't rush. He answers calmly, "Yes, there is. But I will do one thing at a time." The voice in his mind becomes quieter, but not silent. Another thought comes, what if you don't finish everything? A fear, a doubt, a tiny shadow. Daniel keeps his breath steady. He answers, "I will do my best. And my best is enough." The shadow becomes lighter. The doubt loses power. And then a deeper fear rises, the fear that usually hits him early in the morning when he feels weak or tired. What if today is too hard? Daniel opens his eyes slowly. He looks at the morning light in the room. He looks at the space he created with calm. And he answers softly, "Then I will be gentle with myself." His voice, even though he says it only in his mind, feels soft and warm. His words feel like a hand on his shoulder. And he realizes something important. Morning motivation is not about being strong. It is about being gentle in the right moments. He stands up again and walks toward the small table where his blue sticky note is. Start small. Start kind. Start now. He touches the note with his fingertips. And suddenly, the words feel alive. Start small. Start kind. Start now. He takes a deep breath and repeats the words like a soft morning rhythm. Start small. Start kind. Start now. And this rhythm begins to change him. He notices something. His shoulders feel lighter. The pressure he usually feels in the morning is smaller. The tired weight he carries when he wakes up is softer. Something inside him is shifting, growing, opening. He whispers, "Okay, I can do this. I can begin my day with peace." He walks to the kitchen sink, rinses his cup, and places it gently in the drying rack. A simple action, a small movement, but it feels meaningful, because morning motivation often hides inside these tiny actions. Not the big ones, not the impressive ones, but the tiny ones, the ones you barely notice. The ones that make you say, "Okay, next." He moves to the bathroom and splashes cool water on his face. The water wakes him up instantly. He looks in the mirror. His face is fresh now. His eyes are clear. He feels present. He says softly to the reflection, "You're doing well." And this time, he believes it. He brushes his teeth slowly. Not rushing. Not thinking ahead. Just brushing. Just being there. The ordinary moment feels calm, even peaceful. After he finishes, he stands straight, dries his face with a towel, and takes another breath, slow, deep, grounding. And then something happens inside him. A realization. A quiet truth. The morning does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be gentle. He smiles. He leaves the bathroom and steps into the hallway with steady feet. He feels grounded. He feels present. He feels ready. He opens his closet and looks at his clothes. Normally, this is where he starts to overthink. What should I wear? What looks good? What matches? But today, he keeps things simple. He picks a soft gray shirt. He picks comfortable dark jeans. Nothing special. Nothing complicated. Just simple clothes that feel good. Because today is not about appearance. Today is about intention. About inner calm. About beginning with peace. He gets dressed slowly. He looks in the mirror again. And he likes what he sees, not the clothes, not the style, but the person. A person trying. A person growing. A person learning to begin gently. He steps into the living room again. And now the room feels different, not because the room changed, but because he changed. He takes a moment to stand still and feel it. The room feels brighter. The air feels lighter. The morning feels clearer. Because the calm he created inside himself reflects into everything around him. Then Daniel does something he has not done in a long time. He opens his notebook again. But this time, not to write a task or a goal. This time, he writes a sentence to himself. He writes slowly, letting every word touch his heart. My morning is my foundation. He repeats it silently. My morning is my foundation. The sentence feels steady. It feels strong. It feels true. Because the way you start your day is not a small thing. It is not a tiny moment. It is the base, the beginning, the root of everything that comes later. If the foundation is calm, your day becomes steadier. If the foundation is gentle, your day becomes lighter. If the foundation is peaceful, your day becomes softer. Daniel writes one more sentence. I want to build my day with calm steps. He closes the notebook gently. Not with pressure, not with fear, but with a small feeling of pride. He places the notebook on the table again. And now, he feels ready for something more, something deeper, a simple morning habit that will guide his motivation every day. He decides to talk to himself again, but this time with a full, warm voice inside his mind. A voice of support. A voice of encouragement. A voice that sounds like a friend sitting beside him. He says, Daniel, you don't need to rush. You don't need to be perfect. You are allowed to take small steps. You are allowed to grow slowly. You can make today a good day. You are doing better than you think. You are beginning your day with peace, and that is enough. And when he finishes, a deep calm fills his chest. A calm that feels strong. A calm that feels solid. A calm that feels new. He sits back down on his sofa and lets this calm settle inside him like warm sunlight. And then something happens, a moment of transformation. A moment when he realizes something powerful. Morning motivation does not come from outside. It comes from the voice you choose inside. And today, he chooses the gentle voice. The supportive voice. The voice that helps him begin. He takes one final deep breath. He slowly releases it. And then, with quiet strength, he stands up again and says softly, I am ready for my day. He looks outside once more. A few children are walking toward school, holding backpacks bigger than their bodies. A woman walks her dog, stopping every few steps while the dog sniffs the air. A delivery truck parks on the side of the road. A bicycle passes with a soft whoosh. Life is moving. Slowly. Naturally. Calmly. And Daniel thinks to himself, I can move like that too. I don't need to rush into the day. I can enter it gently, step by step. He steps away from the window and begins to prepare for the next part of his morning. He knows he has to leave the apartment soon. He knows the world outside is full of noise, people, movement, responsibility. But today, he doesn't feel afraid of that world. He doesn't feel nervous. He feels steady. He walks to the kitchen counter and picks up his keys. They're small and light, but the sound they make when they touch his hand, that familiar metallic clink, feels like the sound of the day beginning. He places the keys on the table for a moment and lets his fingers rest on them. Then he whispers, almost like a promise, I will carry my morning with me. Because he knows something now. Something important. Something powerful. The calm he created inside his home can travel with him. He doesn't need to leave it behind. He doesn't need to lose it the moment he steps outside. He can carry it. Hold it. Protect it. Let it guide him. He takes a deep breath. And then he moves toward his desk, a place that once felt stressful to him in the morning. The desk is where he usually sits with pressure, with deadlines, with worries. But today, the desk feels different. It feels like a partner, not an enemy. He turns on his small desk lamp. The warm yellow light spreads slowly, softer than the sun, and Daniel feels comfort in this small glow. He sits down in the chair, not to work, but to pause for a moment, to think clearly, to feel prepared. On the desk sits a small notebook, the same one he used earlier. He opens it again. The page he wrote on still shows his handwriting. My morning is my foundation. I want to build my day with calm steps. He reads the words again. And this time, they feel even stronger. He picks up a pen and writes one more line underneath. I will take this feeling with me. He pauses, looks at the page, smiles. He closes the notebook gently, like he is closing a quiet chapter of his morning. A chapter full of calm moments, soft breaths, and small realizations. Then he stands up again. He walks to the hallway and begins to put on his shoes. Normally, this is the moment when his mind would begin to rush. He'd think about schedules. He'd think about tasks. He'd think about everything waiting for him outside. But today is not normal. Today, his mind stays slow, stays present, stays warm. He ties his shoes with calm fingers. He stands up slowly. He rolls his shoulders gently back. And he lets out a long breath. He stops for a moment in front of the door. Not because he's scared. Not because he's unsure. But because he wants to make a promise to himself before stepping into the world. He places his hand on the door handle and whispers, "Morning, stay with me." He takes a gentle breath, a soft smile, and he opens the door. The hallway outside his apartment is quiet. A soft hum of lights. A distant echo of footsteps from someone on a different floor. The air feels cooler here, but Daniel doesn't lose his calm feeling. He holds it inside him, like a warm stone in his chest. He walks slowly down the hallway. His steps are steady. His breath is smooth. His mind is clear. And as he walks, he thinks about something he never thought deeply about before. How do we bring morning motivation into the rest of the day? Because motivation is not something that stays automatically. It can disappear. It can fade. It can slip away without warning. But Daniel realizes for the first time that motivation is not a feeling that happens to you. It is something you build, something you choose, something you protect. He steps into the elevator. The doors close with a soft sound. He presses the button for the ground floor. The elevator begins to move down slowly, a small, gentle ride. And in this quiet moment, as the elevator hums softly around him, Daniel begins another inner conversation with himself. This time calm, focused, friendly. He says to himself, "Remember how you started. Remember the feeling of the warm tea. Remember the soft morning light. Remember the calm breath. Remember the small steps. And carry them." The elevator arrives at the ground floor. A soft chime sounds. The doors slide open. Daniel steps out into the lobby. The air here is different, cooler, busier. Cars outside. People passing. A door opening. A phone ringing somewhere. Many sounds. Many movements. But inside Daniel, the calm does not break. It stays. Steady. Warm. Alive. He walks to the front door of the building. Sunlight shines through the glass. The outside world looks bright, open, full of motion. Some people walk quickly. Some talk loudly. Some look frustrated. Some look tired. But Daniel does not copy them today. He stays slow. He stays gentle. He stays connected to himself. He pushes open the door and steps outside. The sunlight touches his face instantly. Warm, golden, real. He blinks once, adjusting to the brightness. And then, slowly, he breathes in. Fresh air enters his lungs. Morning energy touches his skin. And the world feels welcoming. He takes another step forward. And then another. And as he walks down the street, he begins to feel something new, something soft, but strong. A quiet pride. Not the loud kind. Not the look at me kind. But the gentle kind. the kind that sits in your chest and whispers, "You're doing well." He walks past a small cafe. People sit inside, drinking coffee, talking softly. He hears the quiet clinking of cups, the low hum of conversation. For a moment, he stops and watches through the window. A mother laughs while her little child eats a pastry with messy crumbs on their cheeks. A young man types on his laptop with headphones on. An elderly couple shares a quiet conversation, smiling gently at each other. Everything looks like a small story. Everything looks soft. Everything looks human. And Daniel realizes something beautiful. Everyone is living their own morning. Everyone is trying. Everyone is beginning. He continues walking. With each step, the calm he built in his apartment stays with him, not because the world outside is easy, but because he chooses to carry it. He passes a bus stop. People look tired. Some look stressed. Some look lost in thought. Some look rushed. But Daniel doesn't absorb their energy. He doesn't let their worry take away his peace. He stays in his own gentle rhythm. He remembers his morning intention, steady. That is his word, his feeling, his guide. He whispers it softly as he walks. Steady, steady, steady. The word becomes a quiet beat inside him. A calm drum. A slow pulse. A steady companion. And then something interesting happens, something he wasn't expecting. As Daniel continues walking, a woman walking behind him accidentally bumps into him. Not hard, just a small bump. She immediately apologizes. "Oh, I'm so sorry." Normally, Daniel would feel stressed. Normally, he would say, "It's okay," but feel irritated inside. Normally, this tiny moment would break his calm. But today, it doesn't. He turns around with a gentle smile and says softly, "No problem at all." And he means it. The woman smiles back. A small, warm, grateful smile. Then she continues walking. Daniel walks too, but now with a new understanding, a realization that fills him with quiet strength. When you build calm inside, the world cannot easily take it away. He feels this truth settle inside him like a warm stone. Solid. Grounding. Real. He continues walking down the street. The world feels big, but his calm feels bigger. He passes by a small park. Children run in circles. Tree leaves move in the wind. A dog chases a ball. Birds rest on the branches. He stops for a moment. Feels the wind. Feels the warmth of the sun on his face. Feels the steady rhythm of his breath. And he whispers to himself, "This is a good morning." Not because everything is perfect. Not because life is easy. Not because the world is quiet. But because he chose to begin gently. He begins walking again. And now, with every step, he feels more aligned. More grounded. More connected to himself. He realizes something powerful, something he wants to remember every day for the rest of his life. Morning motivation is not something that just happens. It is something you create and then carry. One step at a time. One breath at a time. One moment at a time. And with that understanding, Daniel continues walking into the bright morning light, ready for whatever the day will bring, not with fear, not with rush, not with pressure, but with gentle strength, with steady movement, with calm steps, with a peaceful heart, and most importantly, with the morning still inside him. The street is alive with gentle movement as Daniel continues walking, but inside him, everything feels slow, peaceful, and soft. He isn't rushing. He isn't trying to be anywhere fast. He isn't fighting the world. He is simply moving with calm intention, like a leaf floating on warm water. Steady, smooth, present. He walks past the small park again, listening quietly to the sounds around him. Children laughing. Leaves rustling. A distant dog barking. a bicycle bell ringing. All these sounds blend together like a gentle morning music. And strangely, Daniel feels like he's part of that music, not separate from it, not overwhelmed by it, but flowing inside it. He reaches a wooden bench under a large green tree. The sunlight filters through the leaves, creating soft patterns of light and shadow on the ground. The place feels calm, almost quiet even with the world around it moving. Daniel decides to sit for a moment, not because he's tired, but because he wants to pause. He wants to hold on to this calm. He wants to feel the world without rushing past it. He sits down. The bench is cool. The air is fresh. His mind feels open. And suddenly, as he watches a small bird hop across the grass, he realizes something important, something he never truly thought about. The morning is not just a time of day. It is a feeling, a quiet beginning, a chance to start small and feel strong inside. He looks around the park. Everything feels gentle. Everything feels possible. His thoughts drift again to what mornings used to feel like for him, heavy, rushed, stressful. He used to wake up and jump straight into problems, straight into work, straight into fear. But now, everything is different. He sits back on the bench and closes his eyes for a moment. He breathes in slowly, breathes out gently, and then he whispers softly to himself, "You're doing well." Not to impress anyone, not to force motivation, but to acknowledge something real, that he is changing step by step, morning by morning. He opens his eyes again and watches the world around him. And his heart feels warm. His mind feels bright. His spirit feels steady. Then his thoughts begin to move in a new direction, a deeper direction. He begins to think about small wins, tiny victories, little actions, simple steps, the kind that often look like nothing, but feel like everything. Like waking up on time, like taking a calm breath, like drinking warm tea, like opening a window and letting fresh air in, like making the bed, like choosing one gentle word for the day. Daniel realizes these small wins create momentum, and momentum creates confidence, and confidence creates motivation. He looks around the park again. A child runs forward, trips slightly, laughs, and keeps running. A woman stretches her arms gently as she walks. An elderly man feeds birds from a small paper bag. Everyone is doing something small, something simple, but all of it matters. Daniel watches these people and thinks, maybe all good days are built on small wins. He feels that idea settle inside him like a warm stone. He stands up slowly from the bench, feeling the ground steady beneath his feet. Then he begins walking again, this time with even more clarity. He walks slowly along the path through the park. A soft wind blows through the trees. The leaves move like gentle waves. The sun shines lightly on his face. He listens to the world, and the world feels kind. He thinks about his morning again, the warm tea, the calm breathing, the gentle affirmations, the notebook, the slow steps to the window. And he realizes something simple, but powerful. Every small choice he made shaped his morning. And because of that, every small choice he makes now will shape his day. He walks a little further and passes a small fountain with crystal clear water. The sound is soft and steady, like a quiet morning heartbeat. He stops and watches the water flow. A simple thought appears in his mind. Water moves steadily. Not fast. Not slow. Just steady. He smiles. Because it reminds him of his morning word, steady. He whispers it softly as he watches the fountain. Steady, steady, steady. The sound of the word and the sound of the water blend together beautifully. He continues walking, and now his steps feel different. More grounded. More confident. More connected to his inner calm. His phone buzzes in his pocket, a message, maybe an email, maybe a reminder. In the past, that sound would have made him tense. It would have pulled him out of his calm. It would have made him rush or worry. But today, he doesn't panic. He doesn't dive for his phone. He doesn't break his gentle rhythm. He simply breathes and says softly, "I will check it soon, when I am ready." For the first time in a long time, he feels free from the pressure to react instantly. For the first time, he feels in control. He walks slowly to a quieter corner of the park and sits on a different bench. This one faces a garden full of flowers: red, yellow, purple, soft pink, bright white. The colors seem to shine under the morning sun. He looks at the flowers and thinks, they grow without rushing. They grow quietly. They grow consistently. They grow with patience. Maybe I can grow like that too. And then he feels something warm rising in his chest, a gentle confidence. Not loud, not dramatic, just warm. Because now he knows something new. True morning motivation does not feel like a big explosion. It feels like a quiet seed growing inside you. Slowly, gently, steadily. He watches the flowers sway in the wind. He watches a butterfly land softly on a yellow petal. He watches the sunlight dance across the leaves. And he realizes he is smiling. Not because something amazing happened, but because something simple happened inside him. He feels calm. He feels clear. He feels capable. He whispers to himself softly, "This feeling is my win today." A small win, but a powerful win. He stands up again slowly, without rush, and looks toward the path ahead. The day is waiting. But for the first time, he doesn't feel afraid of it. He feels ready for it. He walks out of the park. His steps are steady. His breath is deep. His heart feels open. As he steps onto the sidewalk, the city becomes louder. More cars, more voices, more movement. But even with the noise, even with the rush, even with the world waking up quickly around him, Daniel stays slow inside. He carries his calm. He carries his morning. He carries his small wins. And this quiet confidence grows inside him like a warm light. Not big, not bright, but steady. He walks toward his bus stop now, feeling the weight of responsibility again: work, tasks, conversations, expectations. But this time, the weight feels lighter because he has built a strong, gentle foundation. He whispers to himself, "I will take my day one small step at a time, just like my morning." And for the first time in a long time, he truly believes those words. He waits at the bus stop. The bus arrives with a soft hiss. He steps inside. He sits by the window. The engine rumbles softly. The bus begins to move. And Daniel looks outside with a peaceful heart, carrying his morning with him. Not behind him. Not forgotten. Not lost. But alive inside him. Guiding him. Supporting him. Strengthening him. The morning continues. The day begins. And Daniel feels ready. Steady. Calm. Gentle. Strong. The bus rolls forward with a soft rumbling sound, and Daniel sits by the window, watching the world pass by in slow motion. Even though the bus is moving fast, everything outside feels gentle to him, like the world is moving at a different speed than his heart. He places one hand on his bag and the other lightly on the metal bar beside him, letting the vibration of the moving bus settle through his body. It feels almost like a quiet massage, a gentle rhythm reminding him that he is no longer rushing, no longer fighting the morning, no longer waking up with fear. Instead, he is moving with calm. Cars pass next to the bus. People walk quickly on the sidewalks. Shops begin to open their doors. Lights blink. Signs flash. Voices rise and fall. But Daniel remains steady, breathing softly as the city wakes around him. He watches a man jog across the street with headphones on, moving with big, confident steps. He watches a woman walk her small dog, letting it sniff every corner as she waits patiently. He sees a little girl holding her mother's hand tightly as they walk toward a school building. All these small moments feel like tiny stories, tiny worlds, tiny beginnings. And Daniel thinks, everyone starts their day in their own way. Everyone carries something. Everyone feels something inside. He feels connected to them, even though he doesn't know them. He looks down at his hands for a moment. They feel warm, relaxed, different from the usual tense mornings where his fingers shook or his palms felt sweaty. He whispers softly, "I am okay." Then he says it again, "I am okay." And the words feel real. The bus slows down at a red light. Outside, a group of people waits at the crosswalk, some tapping their feet, some staring at their phones, some looking tired. Daniel watches them quietly. And as he does, an unexpected thought rises inside him. I used to look like that every morning. Tight shoulders, quick steps, eyes half open, mind full of worry. But today, he feels none of that. He feels open, present, calm. The traffic light turns green. The bus moves again. Daniel leans his head gently against the window. The cool glass touches his skin, bringing a refreshing feeling. He closes his eyes for a moment and lets the low vibration of the bus mix with the steady rhythm of his breath. And then something happens, something small, but important. A loud noise. A sudden honk from a car behind them. Sharp. Unexpected. It cuts through the calm morning sound like a sudden shout in a quiet room. Daniel's eyes open quickly. His heart jumps a little. His shoulders tighten for a moment. For a second, he feels the old tension coming back. The old fear. The old nervousness. But then, he remembers. He remembers the soft breath. He remembers the calm tea. He remembers the warm morning sunlight. He remembers the small wins. He remembers the slow steps. He closes his eyes again. Takes a slow breath in. And a gentle breath out. He whispers to himself, "It's okay. Come back. Come back to your calm." And just like that, the tension softens. The fear melts. The calm returns. The honk fades into the background. Daniel opens his eyes again, and the world outside feels normal. Not perfect, not quiet, not peaceful, but manageable. Something he can handle. Something he can move through. A small smile forms on his face, because he realizes something powerful. His calm is not weak. It is strong. Strong enough to return. Strong enough to survive noise. Strong enough to stay with him. The bus continues its route. Daniel feels steady again. He looks outside and sees a row of small shops. One of them has a big window where he sees a man sweeping the floor of a bakery. The man moves slowly but with purpose. Each sweep of the broom looks like a quiet, careful choice. And Daniel thinks, that is a small win too. A simple action. A gentle beginning. But full of meaning. The bus turns onto a wider street. The sun is higher now, shining brighter across the buildings. Shadows move and change shape as the light spreads. Daniel watches the sunlight wash over everything: cars, trees, people, windows, like a soft golden paint. And he feels warm inside again. He feels connected to the day, not pushed by it. A teenager gets on the bus at the next stop and sits 2 seats away from Daniel. The teenager looks tired, rubbing his eyes, yawning loudly. His backpack is heavy, maybe full of books. Daniel watches him for a moment and feels something gentle, a soft understanding. Everyone is carrying something. Everyone is trying. Everyone is learning how to face the day. And then Daniel thinks of himself, of his morning, of his calm, and he feels gratitude. A soft, quiet gratitude that sits comfortably in his chest. The bus moves again. And Daniel begins to feel something else, something new, something surprising. He begins to feel grateful for himself. Not in a proud way, not in a bragging way, but in a gentle, honest way. Because today, he chose to take care of his morning. He chose to breathe. He chose to slow down. He chose to carry calm. He chose to change something inside himself. And that choice is beautiful. He looks down at his hands again, the same hands that once shook in the morning, and he whispers softly, "Thank you. Thank you for waking up. Thank you for trying. Thank you for choosing softness. Thank you for choosing calm." He closes his eyes again and lets the bus carry him forward. After a few minutes, the bus enters a quieter part of the city, near where Daniel works. The buildings are smaller here, the streets softer, the sidewalks lined with small trees. He gets ready to stand up. He places one hand on the seat, one hand on the metal bar. He feels stable. The bus slows down. The door opens with a soft hiss. Daniel takes a gentle step forward, and then another. And then he steps out of the bus and into the morning sunlight. He stands still for a moment on the sidewalk. The air feels fresh. The street feels open. The day feels possible. He looks up at the sky, a soft blue, with a few white clouds drifting slowly. And he feels that quiet confidence growing again. He whispers his morning word, steady. And the word feels strong, alive, real. He begins walking toward the building where he works. Each step is slow. Each breath is calm. Each moment is gentle. But then, just as he reaches the entrance, someone behind him calls his name. Daniel. He turns around and sees his coworker, Lena, walking quickly toward him. She looks rushed, her hair slightly messy, her bag slipping off her shoulder. "Oh good, you're here," she says, slightly breathless. "There's a meeting in 15 minutes. Something changed. We need to prepare." In the past, these words would have hit Daniel like a wave of panic. A sudden meeting, unexpected pressure, a quick change of plans. But today, Daniel breathes. He feels the first small rise of stress, yes. But he also feels something else, something stronger. His calm. His morning. His steady rhythm. He takes a gentle breath in and lets it out slowly. Then he gives Lena a warm, steady smile. "Okay," he says softly. "We can handle it." Lena blinks, surprised. Maybe she expected him to tense up. Maybe she expected him to rush. But she sees something different in his face, calm. "We can handle it," he repeats gently. And for the first time ever, he believes it. Lena smiles back, relieved. "Great. Let's go." Daniel follows her into the building. But as he steps through the door, he feels something powerful inside, something he didn't expect. The morning didn't break. The calm didn't disappear. The motivation didn't fade. He carried it all the way here. Through the bus. Through the noise. Through the small shock. Through the pressure. And now, standing in the hallway at his workplace, Daniel feels a new kind of strength, not loud, not dramatic, not perfect, but quiet, steady, and deeply real. He whispers to himself, "I can live this whole day gently." And with that, he steps deeper into the building, ready not just to face the day, but to guide himself through it with soft strength and steady calm. As Daniel steps further into the hallway, the air inside the building feels cooler, almost sharp compared to the warm sunlight outside. The hallway lights are bright, the floor polished, the space quiet but tense, the kind of atmosphere that usually makes the mind stiffen and the heart beat faster. But today, Daniel walks through it with soft shoulders and a calm chest. He feels his morning light still glowing quietly inside him. He walks with Lena toward their office. She talks quickly, explaining what happened, a new client request, a sudden change, a short deadline. Her words come out fast, like a small storm of information. Before, Daniel would have felt lost inside that storm. Before, he would have panicked. Before, he would have rushed, apologized, worried, and tried to catch up. But today, Daniel listens with gentle attention. He nods with understanding. He doesn't feel the old fear rising. Instead, he feels steady. Lena finishes talking and sighs. "This morning is so stressful," she says, rubbing her forehead. "I didn't even eat breakfast." Daniel looks at her for a moment, really looks at her. Her shoulders are tight. Her eyes are tired. Her breathing is shallow. She looks like how Daniel used to feel every morning. He gives her a warm, soft smile and says quietly, "You're doing your best. Let's take one step at a time." Lena stops walking for a moment. Her eyes widen slightly. Then she breathes out a long breath, like his words gave her space to relax. "Thank you," she says softly. "I needed that." They continue walking toward the meeting room. Daniel feels something surprising, a gentle strength rising inside him. Not the strong voice kind of strength. Not the loud kind. Not the forceful kind. But the soft kind. The calming kind. The kind that spreads comfort. When they reach the meeting room, a few coworkers are already inside. Papers on the table. Laptops open. Coffee cups half full. Faces a little tense. Daniel steps inside with quiet calm. The room is bright with overhead lights, but Daniel feels his own inner light glowing just as strong, maybe even stronger. One of the managers, Mr. Parker, looks up. "Oh, Daniel, good. We need your input on something." Before, this sentence would have made Daniel freeze inside. But today, he breathes softly and says, "Sure. What do you need?" They begin the meeting. Voices overlap. Ideas bounce across the room. People look stressed, moving quickly, trying to find answers fast. And Daniel sits still in his chair, listening carefully. His hands stay relaxed on the table. His shoulders stay low. His breathing stays slow. Inside the noise of the room, he finds his own quiet. He protects it gently. At one point, the manager turns to him again. "Daniel, what do you think is the best approach?" Everyone looks at him. Everyone waits for his response. His heart beats a little faster, yes. His voice feels a little tight, yes. This is still pressure. This is still stress. But he doesn't lose himself inside it. He takes a small breath. He remembers the warm tea, the open window, the soft morning wind, the calm steps, the steady rhythm. And then, slowly, he speaks. "I think we can take the client's request," he says softly. "But we should break the work into smaller parts today. Small steps will help us stay focused." The room goes quiet for a moment. Then someone nods. Then someone else agrees. Then the manager says, "That's actually a very good suggestion." Daniel feels a soft warmth spread through his chest. He did it. He spoke gently. He stayed calm. He held on to his morning feeling even in the middle of pressure. The meeting continues. Daniel listens. Daniel answers when needed. Daniel supports his team with quiet strength. And every time he feels a small wave of stress rising, he breathes softly and whispers in his mind, "Steady." And the wave softens. And the calm returns. And he continues. After about 20 minutes, the meeting ends. People leave the room talking quickly, walking fast, carrying papers and laptops. But Daniel stands slowly from his chair. He moves with quiet control, with soft presence, with calm energy. As he walks out of the meeting room, Lena looks at him with gentle surprise. "You were really calm in there," she says. "Like, peaceful. How do you do that?" Daniel thinks for a moment. Then he gives her a quiet smile. "I took time this morning," he says softly. "Small steps, slow breaths. And I'm trying to carry that feeling." Lena nods slowly. "That sounds nice," she says. "I should try that." They walk together back to the office. And as Daniel sits down at his desk, The office noises surround him, keyboards clicking, phones ringing, chairs moving, printers humming. But Daniel does not feel overwhelmed. He does not feel shaken. He does not feel lost. He feels steady. His morning is still inside him. His calm is still breathing. His gentle motivation is still alive. He opens his laptop. The screen glows. Emails pop up. Notifications appear. Instead of rushing, Daniel takes one slow breath. He whispers softly to himself, one small step. He opens the first email, reads it carefully, answers calmly. Then the next email. Then the next. Each one like a pebble he places down gently, no pressure, just presence. As he works, something interesting happens. His calm begins to affect the room. A coworker walking by slows down a little. Another coworker speaks to him in a softer voice. Someone places papers on his desk gently instead of dropping them quickly. It's as if Daniel's calm energy spreads quietly around him, not loudly, not forcefully, but gently, like warm light. For the first time, Daniel realizes something new. Calm is contagious. Peace spreads. Gentleness influences other people. Your morning energy can become other people's morning energy. That realization makes him smile. He continues working for a while, answering emails, organizing tasks, taking steady steps through his day. Then lunchtime arrives. Lena walks by his desk. "Hey, want to go outside for a bit?" Daniel nods. "Yes," he says softly. Fresh air sounds nice. They walk outside together. The sunlight is warm again. The air is soft. The city feels alive, but not too loud. They sit on a bench near a small tree. Lena lets out a long breath. "This morning felt crazy," she says. "But talking to you helped me slow down a little. I didn't feel as panicked." Daniel looks at her with a gentle expression. "I'm glad," he says. "It helped me too." They sit quietly for a moment. Birds sing in the branches. Cars pass slowly on the street. A soft wind moves through the leaves. Then Lena asks, "How did you learn to be calm like this?" Daniel thinks. He looks at the sunlight. He feels the warm air on his skin. And he answers, "This morning, I just slowed down. I breathed. I listened. I gave myself time. And I tried to carry that feeling instead of leaving it at home." Lena smiles a small, warm smile. "That sounds beautiful," she says softly. "I want to learn that." Daniel nods gently. "You can," he says. "Anyone can. You just start with one small step." They sit a little longer. Not talking. Just breathing. Just being. Then they go back inside and continue their day. The afternoon is busy. Meetings, calls, messages, tasks, decisions. But Daniel moves through it all with the same calm rhythm he began the day with. Not perfect. Not effortless. But steady. Every time pressure rises, he breathes. Every time noise grows, he returns to his calm. Every time stress whispers in his mind, he whispers back. Steady. And the calm returns. By the time the day ends, Daniel feels something he has never felt at the end of a workday. He still feels light. He still feels balanced. He still feels connected to himself. He still feels calm. Yes, he is a little tired. Yes, he did a lot of work. Yes, it was a full day. But he did not lose himself in the noise. He did not lose his morning. He did not lose his calm. He carried it all the way through. As he packs his things and prepares to leave the office, he feels quiet pride again. A gentle pride. A soft success. A small win that feels like a big win inside. He whispers to himself with a warm smile. "You did well today. You carried your morning with you." When Daniel steps out of the office building, the world looks different from the morning. The sun is lower in the sky now, shining in a softer, golden color. Shadows stretch long across the street. The air feels cooler, a little slower, a little sweeter. It is evening, that gentle moment when the city finally takes a breath. Daniel stands on the sidewalk for a moment before walking. He feels the tiredness in his legs, yes. He feels the weight of the long workday, yes. But he also feels something much more important. He still feels calm. The morning calm. The steady rhythm. The quiet confidence. The soft motivation he carried from sunrise is still with him now, like a warm light in his chest. He whispers softly to himself. You made it through the day. And you stayed steady. He begins walking. Not fast. Not slow. Just natural. The street is busy with people heading home, parents picking up children, students carrying backpacks, workers stepping toward buses and trains, everyone moving with end-of-the-day energy. But Daniel feels different from the crowd. He feels grounded, centered, balanced, peaceful. He notices a man rushing past him, bumping his shoulder by accident. The man doesn't apologize, he's lost in his own hurry. Before, Daniel might have felt irritated or shaken by this small moment. But today, he lets the moment pass like a leaf floating down a quiet river. He takes a gentle breath, relaxes his shoulders, and continues walking. He sees a woman talking on her phone loudly, frustration clear in her voice. He sees a teenager running to catch a bus, breathless and nervous. He sees an older man struggling with grocery bags, stopping every few steps. And Daniel realizes something soft and important. Everyone is tired. Everyone is trying. Everyone is carrying their day. But he is carrying calm. And that makes the world feel softer. As he continues walking, Daniel begins to think about the morning again, the warm tea, the quiet window, the soft breathing, the gentle word steady. He smiles. He whispers the word again, quietly. Steady. The sound feels like a friend. At the corner, Daniel stops to wait for the traffic light to change. He watches cars pass, their headlights blinking on as the evening deepens. A truck drives past with a loud engine. Two children laugh as they skip down the sidewalk. A cyclist rings a small silver bell. The world is full of sounds, but none of them push Daniel out of his calm. He stays inside his steady breath. When the light changes, he crosses the street slowly. His steps feel peaceful. His mind feels clear. His heart feels soft. He looks around and notices something beautiful. The sunset. The sky is painted with gold, pink, orange, and soft purple. Clouds glow with warm light. The sun looks like a gentle flame touching the tops of buildings. Daniel stops walking for a moment and simply watches. He lets the beauty of the sky soften his tired mind. He lets the warm colors settle into his heart. He lets the quiet of the moment wrap around him like a soft blanket. He whispers, "This is a good ending to a good day." He continues walking. As he passes a small bakery, the smell of warm bread fills the air. It reminds him of mornings, of comfort, of simple pleasures. He watches people inside the shop talking softly and choosing pastries for dinner. Everything feels peaceful. Everything feels gentle. Everything feels like a soft whisper saying, "You made it. You carried your morning through the whole day. And now you can rest." Daniel reaches the bus stop where he will take his bus home. He sits on the bench and stretches his legs slightly. His body is tired, but his mind is still balanced. He looks around and sees a young girl sitting next to her mother, swinging her legs back and forth. The mother smiles at the child with quiet patience. Daniel loves that simple kindness. The bus arrives with a soft hiss. He steps inside and sits near the window again. The bus begins to move. And Daniel lets his body relax fully into the seat. As he looks out the window, he watches the city lights turn on, street lamps, shop signs, windows glowing from inside homes. The lights look like small stars scattered across the streets. He feels a soft warmth in his chest. Not excitement. Not happiness. Something quieter. Peace. He thinks about his morning, his afternoon, his evening, and the day feels complete. Not perfect. Not easy. But whole. Balanced. Steady. The bus continues moving through the city. Daniel listens to the soft hum of the engine. He watches the shapes of people, buildings, and trees pass by like slow-moving shadows. And he begins reflecting gently. How did I stay calm today? How did I carry my morning inside me for so long? What made today so different, so soft, so steady? He realizes something beautiful. It wasn't one big thing. It was many small things. A warm drink. A quiet breath. A gentle affirmation. A slow beginning. A soft step. A simple word, steady. A calm thought. A small win. A moment of kindness. A peaceful pause. All those tiny things added together created a powerful calm that lasted all day. It's like small drops of water filling a cup. One drop looks small, but many drops can fill the whole heart. The bus slows down. The sun is almost gone now. Only soft purple light remains. Daniel gets off the bus and begins walking toward his apartment. The evening air feels cool on his skin. The sky looks soft. The neighborhood feels quiet. He walks slowly. His mind is empty in a beautiful way, not confused, not stressed, not worried. Just open. Just light. Just peaceful. He reaches his apartment building. He steps inside. The hallway is quiet again, just like in the morning. He walks to his door. He unlocks it gently. He steps inside. And the moment he enters, he feels the warmth of home wrap around him. He removes his shoes slowly and sets them aside. He places his bag on the small table. He takes a long, deep breath. And he whispers softly, I carried my morning. And it carried me. He walks into the living room and turns on a small lamp, the same lamp he turned on before going to work. The warm yellow light fills the room softly, just like the morning. He sits on the couch for a moment, letting his body sink into the soft cushions. He closes his eyes. He feels the calm rise again. Then something inside him tells him to get up. To do one small thing. One gentle thing. So he walks to the shelf where he keeps his notebook. He takes it. He opens the cover. He flips to the page he wrote on this morning. He sees the words. My morning is my foundation. I want to build my day with calm steps. I will take this feeling with me. He smiles. He picks up his pen and writes one more sentence underneath. And I brought it all the way to the evening. He closes the notebook gently and places it back on the shelf. Then he walks to the window, the same window where his day began. He opens it a little. The cool evening air enters the room. The night smells fresh and calming. He whispers, Thank you, day. You were kind to me. He stands there for a long moment, simply breathing, simply being. And that is when he realizes the most important truth of the entire day, a truth he wants to remember every morning from now on. When you begin your day with calm, your whole day becomes a gentle journey. And when your day becomes gentle, your life becomes softer, stronger, and more beautiful. He closes the window slowly. The room is quiet. The evening is peaceful. Inside him, the calm is steady, warm, and alive. Daniel sits down, feeling grateful for the day and for himself. And he whispers one last time before ending his evening. Steady. Tomorrow again, steady. He smiles softly. The night has settled completely now. Daniel sits on the edge of his bed, the soft light of a small lamp casting warm shadows across the room. Outside, the city is quiet, gentle, and calm, as though it's finally exhaling after a long, busy day. The sounds are soft, a distant car hums, a dog barks somewhere far away, a wind rustles the leaves outside his window. Everything whispers peace. Daniel lies back for a moment, closing his eyes, letting his body sink into the mattress. His chest rises and falls slowly. His mind, which once raced at every morning alarm, is quiet. His heart, which once carried tension, is calm. His thoughts are soft. He thinks about the morning, the bus ride, the meetings, the emails, the tasks, the evening walk, and finally this quiet night. He remembers each moment he carried calm, each time he chose a slow breath over a rush, each tiny step that helped him stay grounded. He sees clearly now what made the day gentle, meaningful, and full. It wasn't a single grand action. It wasn't a loud success. It wasn't perfection. It was the small things, the small wins, the steady breaths, the quiet words, the gentle choices, the calm moments, the soft presence. Daniel smiles softly as he whispers, "I did it. I carried my morning through the whole day." Then he begins thinking about tomorrow. Not with stress or worry, but with curiosity and gentle anticipation. How can I make tomorrow even better? He asks himself. He thinks about waking up slowly, making a warm drink, sitting by the window, breathing gently, writing a single word in his notebook, smiling at the sunlight, carrying that calm into the world. And he realizes something important. Motivation does not have to shout. It does not have to scream. It does not have to push or pull or stress. It can be soft, quiet, steady, persistent. It can be like the morning itself, a gentle light that grows stronger the longer you let it shine. He remembers all the times today he felt pressure, the sudden honk on the bus, the urgent emails, the meeting that could have made him panic, and he notices something incredible. He survived. He stayed calm. He stayed steady. He carried his morning. And he made choices not out of fear, but out of presence and awareness. That is the transformation. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is quiet, subtle, and deeply powerful. Daniel thinks about the small ripple effect he noticed today, how his calm seemed to touch Lena, his coworkers, even the people around him on the bus. He realizes that carrying calm is not just good for himself. It can reach others in ways he may never fully see. A soft smile, a gentle word, a patient breath, these things create real change quietly, slowly, like water shaping stones over time. He breathes in deeply, holds the breath for a moment, breathes out slowly. Then he whispers a single word that has guided him all day. Steady. It feels like a promise, not only to himself, but to tomorrow. Not only to the morning, but to every small action he will take. Not only to his calm, but to his life. Daniel lies back and closes his eyes fully. He feels tired, yes, but not drained. He feels full. Full of a gentle energy that comes from carrying calm, from staying present, from noticing the small wins, from choosing each moment wisely. He feels safe. He feels capable. He feels alive. And as he drifts toward sleep, he allows a final thought to settle softly in his mind. Every morning is a new beginning. Every day is a chance to practice calm. Every moment is an opportunity to carry gentle strength. And every small step adds up to something beautiful. He smiles once more. The day has ended, but the lessons remain. The calm remains. The steady energy remains. And tomorrow will be another day to begin again. Another day to wake up slowly, breathe softly, choose gently, act calmly, and carry motivation quietly from morning to night. Daniel closes his eyes fully. The lamp glows softly beside him. The city sleeps quietly outside. And Daniel sleeps, with the knowledge that calm, steady, Gentle motivation can guide every day if you let it. The night embraces him. The day ends beautifully. And the promise of tomorrow shines softly, quietly, steadily. And that's the end of today's journey. Remember, every morning is a new beginning, and every small step you take can make your day brighter and calmer. Carry your calm, breathe gently, and let your steady steps guide you. Thank you for listening and practicing English with me today. I'll see you in the next story, where we continue to learn, grow, and speak English naturally. Stay steady, stay calm, and keep listening.